Now,
You,
Roman
you can't
Reigns.
you can't ask for more than that.
Now, Roman Reigns beat Big E in the main event at Survivor Series. What's your take on Big E? We know that Reigns is a top guy, and you think very highly of him, and certainly I do too, especially since his association with Paul Heyman started. But what's your take on Big E?
Fantastic. I think he's great, and he's legit. I mean, the guy's got. I go like I told you. I train with Rob. He totaled 2,200 in the power lifts. So he's an athlete. He played football at Iowa. You couldn't find a nicer guy. He's clever. He's a good talker. He's got $1 million look. I think he's great.
Now,
Just like Xavier. I'm a big fan of Xavier Wood too. So
now, Nate, the one thing I didn't like about Survivor Series, over 1/3 of the time was spent on entrances and video packages. Only 2/3 of the show was actual wrestling. And I know that's the way that wrestling on TV has gone. Like, Raw more often than not starts with a 20-minute interview segment. But I wasn't crazy about that, especially not on a pay-per-view where, in theory, you're paying, although the WWE Network has kind of muddied those waters. And I also didn't like that they teased The Rock the whole show. And obviously, he was never going to be there. And I'm not a big fan of teasing something you don't deliver on.
well, first of all, you asked about the packages first. The packages, I think they're good because they bring back and refresh people's memories of the whole storyline. And Kevin Dunn is so good at putting those together. So if you missed a week of TV, you get it. If you missed a month, say you were gone, or whatever, you could come back. You watch the package, you go, wow, this is why. And then here's the problem: the performers have to live up to the package. So if you look at the package with Ashley and Becky, it was phenomenal. And guess what? They walked out and they followed it. Bingo. That's the problem. Some of the matches can't follow the packages.
No,
Hey, we used to say, it's a joke. Arn would say it out loud. We laughed, some guys I wrestled over the years, the match was over when their music stopped.
I could name a few of those. I think.
Don't. But we used to laugh. I mean, please just play their music for the whole 10 minutes we're out there.
Now, and what about the idea of teasing The Rock the whole time and him not being there? And do you think that's going to lead to The Rock eventually wrestling Roman, maybe at WrestleMania? Now, if you do that, then what was done on Survivor Series makes a little bit more sense. If you don't, then it's just bait and switch.
Well, I can't give you an answer other than the fact that I'd love to see it. Who wouldn't? I mean, I'm a huge fan of both guys. Roman, he knows how much I think of him, and The Rock. There's only one Dwayne Johnson, one Rock. He's larger than life, and he's like Steve. There's a couple of guys that come along in every generation and decade that they're never going to be able to replace. And just like Steve will be hosting WrestleMania and Taker, I mean, there's that elite crew of guys that are always going to be the key people. You know what I mean? And that Steve, The Rock, Taker, Sean. I mean, there's some guys that are always going to be there because that's how much they meant to the company and for years. And I can understand why in someone's mind they say, well, we can get rid of Ric Flair. That's fine. Because I really didn't do much. I had a great run in 91. I became the world champion twice for them. But they actually, as I've said before, they saved my career by bringing me back into the company. And then I had an 8-year run with those guys. And I mean, without that 8-year run, I'm not Ric Flair. So every time, like as talking earlier in the show, I get upset with them. I've got to think back to what really helped me become who I am and why I'm able to have income and be successful at 72 and not have to rely on wrestling.
I would love to see Rock wrestle Roman, and I got to tell
Oh,
you,
me
Rick,
too.
I don't know that it's going to happen at this WrestleMania. I think it'll happen at some point, and the big reason is Rock loves wrestling. He
Yes.
never left wrestling behind. He's the biggest action star, arguably, in the history of movies, not just right now, but he still loves wrestling, and that's why I believe he'll come back there. And with any wrestler, heck, you even
Yeah.
teased this last week on the podcast. Even at 72, there's always that lure of one more match, even if it's just in your mind.